Hi, my name is Mark Monlux, and you're welcome to join us for another episode of Epic Sketch Time. Epic Sketch Time meets every Tuesday at 4:30 Pacific Daylight Time. Feel free to connect through the doobly-doo down below. There should be a link there for sign up for a weekly email reminder, and also you can find us on a Facebook page, Epic Sketch Time. You can also look for our sketches at hashtag Epic Sketch Time. Gentlemen, introductions. Phil, you go first.
Yeah, so hi, I'm Phil Baklar. I'm in New Jersey. And I met Mark through the International Forum of Visual Practitioners. They're folks who do graphic recording for meetings and graphic facilitation for meetings. And we just finished up our virtual conference day this Saturday. And yeah, and the rest of my life, I teach university classes, and I'm a clergy pastor of a church too, a clergy. So I'm a varied person. So appreciate learning along with you all. Thanks.
Bill, your turn.
Okay, hi, I'm Bill Morse. I'm a freelance illustrator and cartoonist working out of Seattle, Washington, and I also do a webcomic called Rhapsodies.
And hey everybody, my name is Ian Castruita. You can check out my stuff at unfedartist.com. I'm an illustrator, graphic designer, and cartoonist working out of Arizona.
Let's see. Bill and Ian, I've got a question for you because I don't think Philip, I don't think you're on Patreon, but have you guys done anything new in your Patreon accounts this week?
Oh, I just made an announcement. If you're talking about the income tax thing, I posted the announcement that they recommended that you post on the from their forum, and I was just about going through their and I was beginning to go through their hand holding on how to edit the tiers just before we were getting on.
Yeah, as far as like the tax thing, I don't have that many backers, and it's I think the tiers that I offered don't actually require tax. So I offer early access and like a thank you message, and then there's general support, and so I don't think any of those get taxed. Am I wrong on that, or is there something that I'm missing?
I was still reading it, so I don't know.
Well, I was hoping you guys had done more research so that I wouldn't have to. So, but one of the things I got was an email asking me to join the forum. And just as I was about to give my link over, I was kind of going, this could be a really elaborate phishing email. So I sent Patreon an email query asking if it was a phishing email. I hadn't heard back, so I'm assuming that you guys received the same email?
Yes.
If I have, I don't remember it. What is it specifically?
An invitation to the forum with a focus on the tax thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't really think my backers are taxed at the levels that I'm offering or at the rewards that I'm offering. So I've just been kind of, I have other things to worry about. Like if I ever start offering like, like exclusive goods and services and stuff, I guess then I need to like do my research, but it's like one problem at a time, just kind of pick your battles, and if you don't need to deal with it, don't deal with it.
The only thing I read was that if it needed to be applied, it would start applying automatically. So I'm not terribly concerned about it. It's not like there's a button you have to throw. At least that was my take on it. For like you, I'm not offering anything physical. I'm just doing services.
Yeah, well, you do need to go into your reward tiers in your profile and say, this is what I'm offering, and so you go into like I only have one tier, and so you identify which each one of those things are, and you basically label them, and that's how the taxes are determined. So it's
Oh.
pretty straightforward. Well, I say it's straightforward. I mean, if you haven't done that yet and you need some help, I guess we can do a quick tutorial or something.
No, I think I should be able to figure it out. I've been doing some research on what you're doing right now with NDI, where the your face up here and what you're drawing down here, or your face down here and what you're drawing up here.
Oh, sure.
And I had downloaded. I went to ndi.tv/tools. They had some fairly semi-complicated tutorials on Facebook for people who are podcasters, and a bit more elaborate setups than what I was planning on doing. And it looked like it was going to be really easy for me to install, but the system requirement is that you're running, at least on the Mac, a 10.10, and I'm using this old cheese grater, which is stuck at 10.9.4, so it won't work for me. I'm a little disappointed in that, so I may have to figure out how to get the NDI to work on my laptop, which has a better camera, but I think I need to be connected to the Ethernet, or pardon me, via an Ethernet cable rather than via Wi-Fi for a better connection. But once I get that done, I should be able to also get my tablet to function, because one of their features is a QR code on their pages when you install a software or activate one of the links, and that should activate your tablet via Wi-Fi if you don't have cables to do it. Of course, I can't vouch for that 100%. I was going to try it out, but I got waylaid by all the fact that the computer equipment that I had was too old.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with the particulars for Mac systems, but I just shared a link that might help. I haven't heard of that acronym that you just gave, but I have heard of OBS Studio, which is for video recording and live streaming, and they have a Mac OS option. It's not what I use. Like I think what I've mentioned before on Epic Sketch Time, that I just use the virtual camera that's created by Logitech Capture. So I have a Logitech camera, and buying that comes with this software called Logitech Capture, which basically creates like a virtual camera. So I can create these picture-in-picture things and stuff like that while I'm streaming.
But you're running on a PC platform, so
yeah, I'm on PC.
Did you need that software in order for your PC to recognize the camera? Or was your camera pretty much plug and play?
It's just install the software pretty much, and then it actually creates a virtual camera, right? So there is this camera right here, which is a source of itself, but the Logitech Capture software creates a virtual camera, and so when I check my my settings and choose which camera I want to broadcast on Zoom, I actually choose Capture, and that gives me the option to have like this guy. Whenever I change cameras, I can do things like show my my URL in the corner and stuff like that. But I think this is very basic stuff. Like OBS is actually like more high-end kind of professional streamer type of stuff that people who like to stream on platforms like Twitch, and while they're playing video games and stuff, they use it for that. I don't see why it wouldn't be suitable for your purposes, but again, I don't really know that much about it. I just found out about it, and I'm obviously not like a major streamer or something, so it's not really my forte. I have really looked into to better like streaming setups though, and things like video capture cards and stuff like that. But I mean that's a whole other ball of wax. I don't know how much you want to talk about that.
Oh.
Do you have anything to add to this conversation, Phil? Are you familiar with any of these techs that we're talking about?
I do. I'm very sort of familiar. I mean, I use Manycam, so as my virtual camera system. And right, like Ian, you know, you can put in application windows, and you can put in overlays, and I can put timers on things.
Going to look at many cams next. Do you know, are you on a PC or are you on a Mac?
I'm in a Mac world. I'm a Mac. And, but I've also used, like Ian said, a video capture card thing to put my iPad into as a camera, and I can have it be my Zoom picture, or I can put it in picture-in-picture, because it's just another video input at that point. It works really good. And it's a hardware solution, so it doesn't eat up processing power to do virtual stuff.
Okay.
What's is that something that Mac produces? I think what is that the looking in my notes here from the other day.
Oh, you mean the video capture card? No, it's just
yeah.
No, you can get a bazillion of them on Amazon or whatever, and I paid $40 for one.
Here it is. The Macintosh has a HD video capture device. So I was wondering if that was what you were using, or if you were using a different device.
Yeah, I just grabbed the cheapest one on Amazon. It's a USB thing. It's just a yeah. HDMI one side, USB the other side. I'm outside on my iPad, or I could show you if I was hooked up to my whole system. But, yeah, it's great though. It's terrific, because if you want to draw in a meeting for us, you can just switch between what you're seeing now, and all of a sudden my iPad is in this window.
That'd be sweet. And yeah, it would be on the Brady Bunch window. It wouldn't be in the share screen dominating.
That's correct.
Nice.
Yep.
Okay, well maybe I'll have to take a look and see if I can find if the OBS will work with my ancient system or not. And if not, time to switch over to my laptop for doing these things. At least then I could be using the iPad to draw at the same time.
Yeah, look at Manycam too.
Yeah, I'll do that. I've got that written down. Matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and add that into the chat. I was looking at Manycam before I committed myself to investing in Zoom. I know that there's a free version of Manycam and there's a subscription version of Manycam. And I also know that educators who deal with the small kids and special need kids, they prefer using Manycam, because for some reason amongst teachers it became very popular. I think it's the way they can frame things and make it look friendly and less business oriented.
Yep, you do. And during COVID, I don't know if they still do it, but they offered like a $30 lifetime premium pro subscription.
Really? $30 for a lifetime, huh?
Yeah, so I jumped on it. Yeah.
Right.
I'll have to. So, Bill, what are you drawing right now? You want to do a screen share?
At the moment, I'm working on that that octopus illustration again. I haven't really been working on it that much since showing it off yet. I'm pretty much finished everything except the background, the kelp forest background, and I think after screwing that up a few times, I think I know how to do it right. So here's hoping. And if I and if I finish that in time, which I doubt, I have this other illustration project for that park children's book idea I may have shown you some of the concept work for.
I don't remember for the children's book one.
I'm considering it as a children's book at the moment. It's the one with the little girl with the
Oh,
girl with the green dress.
Yeah, I've seen that.
On another topic, Ian, I see you're using the 3D Clip Studio's 3D functions there, and interested in your experience with it so far.
I'm a fan. It helps me. If it wasn't for that single feature, the LT conversion of layer, I probably would only be using it for reference. And I mean, that's what I was doing for it, or doing with it before. Like I would actually pull in a 3D model and then I'd draw on top of it. But this basically just creates my line work. And, you know, the only thing I really wish they would do, I don't know, maybe it's worth writing to them, is like, instead of creating a line, I would prefer they create a ruler, because I could draw over the ruler and then vary my line width and get like a more organic looking line, as opposed to just like, you know, this kind of like CAD looking shape. But, you know, obviously I'm not doing like my characters. I'm just doing like a lot of background, a lot of like, you know, artifacts and like place settings and stuff like that. So, you know, the monitors, the keyboard, the mouse, the desk, it really works well for that, because those are, you know, very industrial, you know, straight line kind of things. But even then, I would like to vary the line width if I could. But you know, lately I've been looking pretty hard at Blender and the grease pencil tutorial, or the grease pencil, excuse me, as a tool. And I've came across this tutorial that I'll share on the chat. You could check this out. The guy's selling his tutorial for $19, but I mean, if you guys are familiar with Blender, it's a completely 3D model, you know, environment, or it's a 3D modeling system. And the grease pencil actually gives you like line work in a 3D kind of format, so you can like adjust landscapes and everything, adjust perspectives, and your line work stays solid, as far as I understand it. Like I've only seen a few samples, but as soon as I saw it, I was like, well, I'm out of a job, right? Because it was like, it was so amazing. Like, you know, here's a character, he looks like he's inked in, but you change perspective, you like, you know, you can go to bird's eye or, you know, worm's eye view, it doesn't matter. It still looks solid, like it was hand drawn. And I was like, I need to learn this, like, if anything, just to, you know, increase my workflow. But yeah, I'm pretty excited about checking this out. For $20, you know, I figure it's worth my time. You know, just kind of keeping up with technology. It's always going to, you know, what's the next thing going to be? And, you know, you don't want to be left in the dust. So.
I mean, I follow you. I'm currently teaching myself Blender, because Blender as well. I'm getting, and the learning curve's going relatively well. I mean, my main plan is to replace all of my SketchUp sets with Blender sets, and hopefully be able to import them as objects into SketchUp. Though I'm still, I'm sorry, a Clip Studio.
Yeah.
And,
yeah, I mean, I think I mentioned before, there's a great book from DC, how to like digitally draw or something.
Oh, I own that one. It's a really good one.
Yeah, and I mean, that kind of blew my mind, you know, this idea of using SketchUp to create your backgrounds and then just draw over them. And you know, Clip Studio just takes that to a next level, where you can do that LT line conversion, and suddenly you have line work. You know, you're not just putting in references, you actually have most of your work done.
Yeah, exactly.
And then if I'm right with Blender, it's going to be the next step entirely, where you're actually like, you know, you're creating your scene and you're mocking it up at the same time. You're like maybe 2 clicks away from having a fully rendered line work, or potentially colored line work, you know, because there's nothing really stopping you from doing color in Blender. So yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, no, exactly. And from that book, that guy is who wrote the digital art book, is a big fan of doing his models in SketchUp. But the reason I'm doing trying to make the transition is because it's been my experience that while SketchUp is really idiot-proof when it comes to learning how to model on it, it also, because it's mainly for architects first, I can never get the perspective and depth of field just right. And since Blender is meant for animators, camera angles is the whole point.
Yeah. I mean, I like SketchUp, but I don't think it's the right tool anymore. I think if you're going to spend your time in 3D, you need to learn Blender.
Mm-hmm.
Especially since it's free, right? I mean, what do you have
Exactly.
to lose? Just, take the time. Have you checked out the donut tutorials?
Yeah, I've gone halfway through it.
Okay.
I stopped it because I'm making stuff that's going to be turned into line art. I didn't see a need to go into the super advanced part of the thing. I figured I needed to focus more on my very basic modeling. I mean, because one of the reasons I didn't get far in my last time I was doing the teaching was I made the mistake of jumping into the deep end and was doing character modeling. And while that's fun and something I recommend trying to get into, has nothing to do with creating background sets.
Yeah.
So
And I mean, backgrounds are a beast, right? I mean, that's why certain comic artists hire, just background artists.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Mark, I cut you off.
Oh, that's okay.
It's like we're playing jump rope and not letting you in.
I'm just trying to dive into this conversation here on a totally different topic. You guys would know.
Bill and I are like, why hasn't Mark said anything yet? It's so
because
awesome.
for once we got into a topic that he doesn't know much about.
Oh, really?
Well, let's make it about me now. So, you guys might remember that I started off on this enamel pin project by, first starting off with this kitten, and this has now progressed to it's gone through various I just keep simplifying it more and more down. I think I got the basic shape, a very chibi looking kitten head here, and I'm going to
share your screen, Mark.
I might not. I'm sorry, I wasn't sharing my screen. I thought
No
I started. I'll start over again. Just a sec. Gotta get my files. There we go. Try this. Okay, so here's where I started with this little bit of a kitten source to kind of just do a real life over sketch. And I thought, okay, I need to make these eyes bigger. I need to lose all this detail. And then this was a version made from that. Again, talked to you guys and a few other people that for a really small enamel pin, I had to simplify it down even farther, and I also increased the size of the eyes, followed the chibi rule of lowering the eyes to halfway down to enlarge the forehead. And it's still kind of cute, but boy, is it a far ways from that. So now my idea is to start applying the various glam rock figures of KISS, their facial designs, onto this for a series of pins. So
that's an interesting direction. Like, what made you want to do that? Or is that a KISS thing? I'm not really a fan, so I don't know.
Yeah, but there's a lot of people who are very sentimental about them.
Well, I was trying to think. It all started with David Bowie. I have a niece who loves David Bowie, and during his glam rock phase, he had two different facial makeups for Ziggy Stardust, and one is the classic lightning bolt on the forehead. And at conventions, I was talking to people. Okay, here's an idea. People love kittens. What if I made them did a mashup with glam rock like David Bowie? And then someone immediately said, "Oh yeah, you gotta do the four members of KISS." And then I got onto this tangent of, oh my God, there's all of these other people who played on KISS, like 5 other people, and each one had a different facial makeup. And they're very obscure. And I'm wondering, okay, it'd be an interesting experiment to do on Kickstarter. I know I could easily sell the David Bowie enamel pin and probably the first 4 of the KISS enamel pins, but the stretch goals involving the more obscure enamel pins, would I actually hit a KISS market inside Kickstarter? Because when I did my playing cards, I was trying to reach out to the horror community, but what I ended up doing was reaching out to the playing card community, and I tapped into a whole market sector right there on Kickstarter where I just sold a ton of cards to card collectors.
Yeah, is there any way you could do your research before the Kickstarter and just kind of like find out? Like I mean, I don't know how you would do that, right? But
yeah, because I mean, as far as I am aware, the KISS Nation is very much a thing, but then even though I was one of the 10-year-olds who idolized them because that's what the popular kids were idolizing, I don't know much beyond what I happened to see in whatever magazine was at the supermarket.
Well, I do know that there's an enamel pin subculture all to itself. So the medium is often just a collector's item. And if it's with a good design, a lot of people just are looking for that.
you know what this kind of reminds me of is those I can't remember. I guess they're vinyl figures, but they're just kind of like blank canvases for people to like create character art on, right? And they've been created as Disney characters and Marvel characters and everything else. And that's kind of what you're doing, right? Like you're creating like a cat canvas to like paint characters on, right? Is that pretty much it? Because it's going to be the same cat canvas each time, right? It's just going to have different makeup or different characteristics.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. So I mean, you definitely need to like check in with like the pin collecting market, but you know, if you wanted to like hit like specific like KISS fandom or something, I guess I would go onto like, you know, the Reddit page, which there has to be, right? There has to be a Reddit page, you know, like if there's a Facebook group or something. I mean, you just don't want to come off as, you know, someone who's trying to sell something. You kind of want to portray yourself, or not portray yourself, but, you know, explain you're an artist trying to make a product that people would hopefully like. Is this something you guys would be interested in? So at least that's the approach I would take.
That's some good advice. I will have to do some more research on that. Now I need to find in my computer somewhere the artwork I had. I did a bunch of research, and I have a bunch of KISS JPEGs somewhere. I thought I might share with you this one poster that this one guy in the KISS community did of all the faces of all the various characters. If I can't locate that. And Phil, now we hit the lull where everybody's working and not talking.
Oh, Philip's mic is off, but I see him trying to talk.
No, it's interesting to listen to that. I try to stay up on the technology, and so it's really interesting to hear you talking about that. One of my parishioner daughters just graduated from Boston College in graphic design and illustration, or Boston School of Art, or something such as that. And so I'll have to maybe check to see if she wants to jump in sometime.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
Are you working on anything, Philip, that you could share with us so we could see what you're doing?
Oh, what am I doing? I can't share it on here. I I've been learning to do animations in Procreate. I mean, that maybe is something.
Oh yeah, that sounds really cute.
Yeah, you know, Procreate has a animation assist, and
Yep.
so it does layers quickly for you and lets you see the opaque layer before, and then you can duplicate the layers and you can just move your thing or resize it or twist it and create your whole animation. So that's been interesting to work on.
Do you have a portfolio or a URL we could see some of your work?
Oh gosh, you know, I should hook you up with my brother. My brother is a RISD grad, you know, Rhode Island School of Design.
Yes,
Yeah. I applied to RISD, and it was my one of my top picks, but I also got accepted to the Air Force Academy and decided that art wasn't a career, and so
I actually grew up living about a mile away from RISD, but
wow.
I inevitably chose against it, not just because being scared to death of not making the cut, but beyond that, I wanted a liberal arts background, and RISD's idea of liberal arts is teaching Italian for their exchange program.
Now, didn't oh man, Ed Shims went to RISD, right? And our Western rep is also a RISD grad.
No, Stowe it was someplace in Georgia. I forget the name.
Did he go to SCAD?
I'm blanking.
Savannah College of Design.
Yes. I
wow,
think so.
that's another like institution. I wish if I had it all over to do again. So.
Yeah, my brother actually ended up in Japan doing Christian church work, and he's now shifting to an art ministry, art thing in the art district of Seto, Japan, which is a historic art community. And,
that sounds really cool.
Yeah, I should shoot Mark some of the stuff. He's doing exhibitions and installations and all kinds of photography. He's been doing exchanges in Cuba and India and Germany, doing something with garbage people in India, the people who live in garbage dumps.
Huh.
And he did some art work with them to represent, to give them voice. So yeah, so I could probably toss in some interesting things here if it's useful. Oh, I haven't been in this group for a long time. Mark, some years ago, I used to come regular, but haven't been for a while.
So here, I'm going to share a screen again. This is the poster that this guy made showing, I can't show them all at the same time because I got blown up, but there are 10 different band members. So
I'm not seeing a shared screen.
How am I not? Did I not push the button again?
I
came
don't
and
know.
went.
Am I the only one that can't see it? Or?
You might have pressed it twice because it was in and out.
Oh.
Hang on, let me try this again. Okay, there we go.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So here are the 4 basic guys. And then we have, I've seen this guy before, but these 3 guys are completely new to me. And I've seen this guy before, but this guy's new to me too. But apparently over their many decades, they've had a couple of different people come on and sub out other performers.
I remember when you first were showing us, the only one I was aware of was the Fox.
So I was kind of curious, do you guys recognize any of the others, or are you just not part of KISS Nation?
I wasn't part of the KISS Nation, but growing up in the elementary school that I was in, you had to be aware of them just to be as part of mandatory culture, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, the only thing about Kiss I remember is that Todd McFarlane, I think, did a comic with Kiss characters, and I think he also did some action figures.
I don't think he was. Yeah, or more accurately, his company did it. I don't think he did any of the art for it. I'm forgetting who did do that. For some reason, I'm thinking it was what's his name. I'll remember in a half an hour.
Yeah, to be fair, like when you said Kiss, I was like, oh, I'd like to see a Spinal Tap kitten, but that's like that doesn't really make me qualified to talk about.
Well, some things make better transitions into kittens than others. I mean, I'd recommend Beatles and Queen, but I think the cat with wigs wouldn't work.
Now, the reason, do you guys know why Kiss used the facial stage makeup?
Not beyond it being a theatrical gimmick, no.
Well, the thing was that before Kiss, no one did large venues, but they were getting such a demand for their performances that they figured, okay, this is back before Jumbotrons and large screens projection. So when they realized that they were going to be playing in, like, say, a football stadium sized arena, they adapted the facial makeup so that their fans could tell them apart from a distance.
That makes sense. I mean, that's the whole point of how theatrical makeup works.
And the first time they did it, they weren't even using, I think they were using shoe polish and grease paint. And that's why you have a lot of the black and white arrangement and lipstick. And that was basically the most low rent makeup supplies you could possibly have on hand, and then rapidly applied with the unsteady hand.
And the rest is history, huh? That's kind of cool. I think if you were to do like a Kiss kitten, you'd have to do the guy with the tongue, right? Because that's what they're known for, right?
Oh yeah.
So you'd have to do a kitten with like just a massive tongue, like snaking out.
I'm trying to remember if Gene Simmons has anything below his lips other than that. But yeah, his character is called the Demon.
And isn't one of the and now I'm like thinking of all this Kiss trivia. Aren't one of them like a elementary school teacher or something like that?
I have no idea.
I seriously think like either that or another band or something. But yeah, like one of them teaches like elementary school.
Well, let's see. Gene Simmons was in a movie with Tom Selleck as the bad guy. It was called Runaway, and it's all about a future in which robots are helping out in society and being used by terrorists, apparently. And there was another one, a spy movie where Gene Simmons is the bad guy, and his assistant, it was Robert Englund, the guy who played Freddy Krueger as the mad scientist. I can't remember the name of that movie, but oh my God, that was awful. So, and of course, there was Kiss the movie, which, again, ooh.
I always get that one mixed up with that parody that Family Guy did with the Kiss Christmas special.
Guys, I appreciate visiting with you tonight. I'm going to try to bring some more interesting stuff the next time I come, but thanks. I got to go to another meeting.
Okay.
All right. Take
Bye,
care.
Phil.
Thanks, Mark.
Nice seeing you.
Good, good. Yes.
And then there were 3.
Well, I did have some other people sign up from the IFEP conference, but there are a lot of Zoom rooms it got everybody excited to, open up their own little individual chats. As a matter of fact, there was one I was tempted to go to instead of the co-op one, the guild one today, which I'm surprised you weren't at the guild one, Bill.
I was already signed up for this one. The guild was plugging about film graphics hosted that had about 3 Pixar people talking.
That's the one I was thinking about going to. How was that?
It was
Did
it
that
was
get
very,
recorded?
very interesting. They were showing a lot. It was especially because they were showing all of the brand names they made up for scenes in a store. For example, the last person who spoke is the main graphic designer for the latest one they did, the one with the modern day fantasy setting. And so they
Onward?
Thank you, Onward.
Oh,
And
okay.
so, for example, the first scene of that was taking place at a video game, and they were showing all of the designs for the video game machines. And then one of them was showing all the fonts and decals they made. It was just and I'm watching it and I'm saying, I can use this for just as a philosophy. This doesn't just apply to movies. I can use this as a approach to a lot of my comics as well.
That makes me disappointed I missed this thing. It's a guild webinar though, right? So it should be posted.
It's not actually, it's not the guild, but apparently it'll be out. They'll have the let me just a second. What is it?
I was surprised when you said it was the guild, because I thought it was something else entirely different.
The guild was advertising it, but it's
oh, okay.
I need I have to turn off my yeah, the company is called Letterform, and apparently apparently all their archives are free to get into access.
Okay. Is that a link you could share, or?
I'm assuming it's just Letterform, but apologies. This is a case of me being a terrible note taker. After a while, I was just photographing all of the design stills that they were putting up in their presentation.
Letterform archive?
Yeah.
Okay. Huh. Yeah, I guess this is a good time to ask you guys. I was looking at a magazine called Character Design Quarterly, and I wondered if either of you subscribe to it or if you even bother with magazines anymore. Here, I'll share a URL.
Well, I can show you the. I decided to renew a subscription to a pet passion of mine. I've had some of these magazines from the 80s. Then I stopped subscribing for a while, but I decided to give myself a treat for this next year. And I'm a fan of Fangoria magazine.
That takes
Yeah.
you back. It looks like
That
they've
doesn't
gone a
surprise
lot.
me.
That it looks like they've gone higher end. I always remember them being.
Well, they're only doing 4 issues a year, so now it's got this nice. It's not no longer a staple back. It's got some nice thick paper in it, content. But I've got a whole closet full of these things. I started collecting them in the mid 80s through about the mid 90s or so, and then I stopped. And then they, magazines just started dying left and right. But no, I don't subscribe to that one. I don't do a lot of character design.
Yeah. I mean, I used to subscribe to Wizard, and I don't anymore, obviously. But it's just, for me, magazines just kind of sat around. Like I liked the fact that they were there, but I didn't really take advantage of them to read the articles and all that stuff. It seems like everything's online now. So
It sounds like something I'd be interested in at least looking at it, because character design is a area that I've been definitely trying to get into, and I do follow a handful of character design blogs. The best one is a Brazilian one. So the downside of that is you have to run it through the translator every time you want to look one of the articles up. And actually, I don't try and remember that one back. I think that one actually is animation in general, because a lot of the articles in it were also with concept design and backgrounds.
There was a drawing magazine I subscribed to for a while called Draw.
Oh yeah, I didn't subscribe to it, but I picked up quite a few of the collections.
Yeah, I think I subscribed to like the first 6 issues or did the first year or so. And I have a bunch of Juxtapose magazines. I subscribed to Juxtapose for a couple years because I really loved that type of contemporary pop art, and I found the artist to be very inspiring. And I think back in the 90s, I subscribed to, what was it? I subscribed to the Smithsonian for a couple years because I like to read about the art in that. And then I switched over and subscribed to New Yorker for a couple of years back in 2000 because I loved reading short stories, and I loved their short stories. So
I was always a fan of a lot of the cartoonists on those, though I don't like the modern ones don't hold up quite as much as some of the greats.
So is there like a resource that you guys go to regularly just to kind of, stay on top of the industry or whatever? I mean, is it a YouTube channel or a website or something?
Oh, nothing specific. There's a handful of Facebook pages that I like. There's the one that I really like is this one called the Character Design Challenge. They have a Pinterest page that is one of the best general references out there. and I used to, I occasionally do the challenge, which you post on Facebook, actually.
I would say that the only resources I've been tapping into have been the various color theory websites with their color applications to create color palettes.
That's interesting.
Yeah, there's I can't say that there's any particular one that I've been logging into. But here's one that I use all the time is if you ever find a font and you really want to know the name of that particular font, do a screen capture of it, at least 82 pixels tall, hopefully with enough, like a word's worth of characters, a nice long word, though you can do a short word. And then you take that JPEG or PNG file and you drop it into a site called What the Font.
Okay, yeah, I know What the Font. Sure.
Yeah, I use that. They have an app too.
So sometimes they don't come close, but most of the time they do a pretty good job. I've got a huge font library from back in the day, but really, since I stopped doing a lot of the design end of things and really concentrated just on cartooning for facilitation, everybody wants my hand-drawn stuff. Now, I'm trying to remember, there used to be a resource where you could fill out a form, send it off, and they would send it back to you as your hand lettering as a font.
Oh, wow.
And one of my friends, what they did was, they did their lettering in all caps, and they would actually create 4 sets of fonts for a font family, in so much as it would be the same set of cap letters in one family group, but when you did the lowercase, it was actually the same cap letter, but drawn slightly differently, so that it wouldn't look totally uniform when you were doing it would actually look, if you're drawing 2 different types of A's hand drawn, then that variance is enough to make people pass up. If you have 2 S's in a row, you can make the second S look different.
Yeah.
And they would do the same thing for their lowercase characters and have 2 different cases of those by having one in the uppercase and one in the lowercase. And I thought that was extremely clever and a way to save a lot of time. And now that I'm in Procreate a lot, I'm thinking, people love my hand lettering, but if I could just make it so I can just type it in rather than hand letter it,
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
things would go a lot faster and still look, underneath my brand. So if you guys remember what that site is, or sites that offer that, I don't know. I got the form around here somewhere, and I totally been meaning to do it for the last couple of years. I don't even know if they're still around.
Well, I could tell you that one of my favorite fonts is Scott McCloud, which let's see, is it Comic Craft is the name of the company. They have a sale every New Year's. Yeah, comiccraft.com. So they've actually like created fonts out of famous artists and stuff. Scott McCloud being one of them. So I don't know. I don't know how much they charge for that type of thing, but they're definitely experienced in it. The other comic font go-to guy is Nate Picos of Blambot.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
as far as famous cartoonists, Blambot has one based on Adam Warren.
Yeah, so I mean, it can't hurt just to inquire, right, and say, hey, I'd like to turn my hand lettering into a font. What can you do for me? But yeah, I was just about to say, like, I really like your lettering too. Like, it's one of the coolest things about your style and everything. So, if you could find a way to do that faster, I mean, you know, go for it. But I hope you don't lose the kind of quality that you have.
And another one, if you're familiar with Type Thursday, there's quite a few font designers who are part of that.
Gentlemen, it is 5:27. So I'm going to go ahead and I suggest that if you wanted to, that you save your copy of the chat because we got lots of interesting links up there this week. I also want you guys to, let's see, hold up a hand and do a still wave. Should have done this when Phil was here.
What's this for?
He's going to.
Am I participating in a ritual that I wasn't aware of?
I'm just going to post our photos on the Facebook page.
Oh, okay.
It's something we do at at Freelance Fandango every time. By the way, today's Freelance Fandango was pretty big. We had 16 people show up.
Wow.
So, and that was.
Does that get chaotic at all, or I mean, does it go
actually
pretty
no? It rolls through pretty well.
Huh.
It makes 2 hours go by very quickly.
Oh, well, that explains it.
And one of the people who was attending, it was 5 o'clock in the evening, and he was in Cape Town, South Africa. And he's been stuck there ever since the pandemic broke out because of not being able to leave the country or get back in the United States. So he went out there on a business trip, and he's been stuck. I also was talking at the convention to a gal from Malaysia who came to San Diego, and she's been stuck here ever since then. So anyway, guys, thank you so much, and I'll see you next week at Epic Sketch Time.
Take care, everyone.
Ciao.